All right, welcome Genesis International College students. Let's get right into it. This explainer is your ultimate guide to Topic 3 of Unit CPCCOM2001, Identifying Project Requirements. Whether you're about to step onto a job site for the very first time, or you're just looking to bulletproof your knowledge before your assessments, you are absolutely in the right place. Let's do this. So I want you to think about construction like a giant, complex road trip. You wouldn't just jump in your car and try to drive across the country without a map, right? Well, a building site is exactly the same deal. To get from breaking ground to the final handover, builders need a highly detailed roadmap. We rely on strict visual and written directions to make sure we actually arrive at the right destination, the finished product. Here's the route we're taking today, the construction roadmap. Decoding your site plans, the crucial written specifications, navigating codes and standards, and finally, handling changes and amendments. Starting off with Section 1, the construction roadmap. Okay, let's break down the two main tools you're going to rely on every single day. Our roadmap basically speaks two distinct languages, and to thrive on site, you absolutely must grasp the difference. On one hand, you've got your plans. These are the technical drawings, your visual map of the terrain. On the other hand, you have your specifications, or specs. These are the written details. Think of them as your turn-by-turn GPS directions. You literally cannot have one without the other. But why are these documents so insanely important? Well, they're the lifeblood of the entire project. They give us a graphic representation of exactly what the client wants, which lets the estimators figure out the real project costs. They also tell us the precise materials and quantities needed, so nobody is just guessing down at the supplier. Most importantly, they keep everything consistent. When the plumbers, the electricians, and the carpenters are all reading the exact same map, everyone is building the exact same vision. Moving right along to Section 2, Decoding Your Site Plans. All right, it's time to put on our detective hats and look a bit closer at the visual side of things. Plans are incredibly detailed pieces of communication. They show you the whole shebang: interior layouts, exact wall dimensions, and what we call nominated locations. Now, a nominated location isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's a hard and fast predetermined spot where a fixture or service absolutely must go so it doesn't clash with other structural elements. You really have to interrogate these blueprints. And heads up, you aren't just looking at one single drawing. You're going to encounter a whole suite of plans. You've got architectural floor plans that focus on room layouts and aesthetics, but then you've got the highly technical engineering plans. These detail the structural integrity of the build. Stuff like footing and foundation plans, slab thickness, and roof framing schedules. They are absolutely critical for making sure the building can safely support its own weight and for identifying load-bearing walls. So, picture this. You've just arrived on site. What's your very first practical move? Well, after throwing on your PPE, of course, you need to physically orient yourself. You step outside, grab a simple compass to find true north, and physically align your surroundings with the site plan. Think about it. If your map is upside down, your building is going to be upside down too. It's really that simple. All right, Section 3, the crucial written specifications. Now, drawings are fantastic, but visual lines can only tell us so much. We have to dive into the specs to figure out the actual mechanics and the quality required. The specs are the comprehensive written details that basically fill in all the technical blanks left by your visual plans. Like, a drawing might show a line that represents a floor, but the specs, they will explicitly tell you whether that floor is meant to be polished concrete or a highly specific grade of timber. Because of this, cross-referencing your plans with the written word is 100% non-negotiable. If you ignore the specs, even the most gorgeous architectural plans can lead to massively expensive mistakes on site. You might build a wall in the exact right spot, but if you use the wrong materials, you'll be tearing it straight back down. When you crack open a specification document, you're primarily hunting for four main pillars. First up, materials. Literally, what do you need to build this thing? Second, workmanship. This outlines the required tolerances, quality controls, and the acceptable finishes. Third is design, which dives into specific safety requirements. And fourth, environmental requirements. These are absolutely crucial because they can change wildly depending on the specific local rules in your state or territory. Which brings us to Section 4, navigating codes and standards. Okay, so both our visual map and our written directions are built on a bedrock of strict rules that govern the whole construction industry. You've got to get intimately familiar with these frameworks. I'm talking about the National Construction Code, or NCC, and the Building Code of Australia, the BCA. These are the legal rulebooks for all building work in the country. At the end of the day, your plans and specs are really just expressions of how to build something that legally complies with these major codes. To make this a bit more concrete, let's look at the difference between a code and a standard. The BCA gives you the broad legal framework, like saying, hey, this house must have fire safety measures. But the Australian standards give you the exact step-by-step instructions. For example, AS 3786-2014 lays out the precise, non-negotiable rules for manufacturing and installing smoke alarms. Simply put, the code tells you to do it, and the standard tells you exactly how. Let's move into our final area, Section 5, Handling Changes and Amendments. Let's be real. Construction is a wild, dynamic environment. Things change constantly. You have to be ready for the moment your map and your directions suddenly don't match up. Owners are definitely going to change their minds about the layout. Local councils might jump in and demand alterations before you can legally proceed. All this means that you, as the builder, have to stay on high alert for amendments happening on the fly. And hey, these aren't always massive project-halting overhauls. A lot of the time, common amendments are just repositioning a door or swapping a single power outlet for a double GPO. Maybe they want to change the flooring material or squeeze in some extra cabinetry. Whether it's a tiny electrical tweak or a major structural change from the architect, you have to know how to spot these updates the second they happen. So, what's your game plan? If you spot an inconsistency, let's say a hallway is drawn as carpet on the plans, but the specs say timber, stop right there. First, check the title block on your drawing to make absolutely sure you're holding the latest version. Second, verify the discrepancy. Third, flag it with your supervisor immediately so they can talk to the architect. And lastly, never, ever toss old plans in the bin. Mark them, stamp them as superseded, and archive them safely, just in case someone asks questions later. And that wraps up our journey for today. You now know the crucial difference between the visual map of your plans and the written directions in your specs. You know how to decode the rules, spot the standards, and handle those tricky on-site amendments like a pro. Armed with all this, you are 100% ready to absolutely crush your CPCCOM2001 assessment at Genesis International College. So take this roadmap, stay safe out there, and hit the tools with total confidence. But I'll leave you with this one thought. A map is really only as good as the person reading it. When the unexpected inevitably happens on your next big build, how quickly will you be able to adapt your route?